finally, we know what the problem we've had with the incident form and the whole electoral system in 2016. And we had the opportunity this year to have an electoral bill, but unfortunately it was rejected by the president. What do you think, if care is not taken, would be the consequences of this? Do you think that the president did the right thing?
No, you wouldn't have said the president has done the right thing. The president has murdered democracy by his refusal to sign the Electoral Act. I want to place on record that this Electoral Act was developed by three groups, namely the National Assembly, the INEC, and the Office of the President as represented by the Attorney General of the Federation. And this development of the Electoral Act took 2 years, and it was going up and down between the National Assembly and the President. We never knew that what the President was trying to do is to refuse to sign the Electoral Act at an appropriate time, that it would be impossible to shout because of lack of time. And I want to say that this Electoral Act was put in place to address so many lapses from all previous elections from 1999 to date, and to also look into all court judgments that had to do with the lapses in this election and address all of them and put them in one form such that it will be near perfect to have an Electoral Act where no individual or no single institution can subvert the will of the people. And it's because, and there is one key element of which I am a #1 propagator in the whole of this country, which the nation needs to know. That is the card reader, for which I went and studied the use of the card reader in Ghana under Professor Ofere Geng, the then chairman of their equivalent of INEC in Ghana. And if there is anybody that made Buhari president of this country, it is God, and next is the card reader, because the fear of the card reader was what stopped the then government from interfering with the electoral system. And the card reader was not justiciable, and it was just because that Jonathan was fast enough to accept the defeat. And you had seen that in the case of Akwa Ibom Governorship Tribunal and that of Rivers. When it went to the Supreme Court gave a verdict that the card reader, even though a good instrument for checking excesses of those in power, it is not known to Nigerian laws. Therefore, it is not justiciable. And this Electoral Act wanted to justiciate that card reader such that any information retrieved from the card reader could be used in a court of law. And it's because this government wants to help itself by jettisoning the card reader. That was the only reason why the Buhari government refused to sign this electoral bill.
In that case, I want to ask you this final question. I do know how the card reader and the incident form is used to rig election. Where an opposition is popular, the card reader is said to be banned, and then they would not use the incident form. And where the government in power is popular and powerful, they use the incident form to thumbprint and claim large number over the opposition. That has happened, for example, in Edo State. My question now is, now that the electoral bill was not signed, what is PDP and those in coalition with PDP doing to ensure that that kind of rigging will not take place?
Well, Peter, let me just say that what you have just said, no PDP man could have said it better. But I also want to say that information available to us from insiders of this government, we know that they are trying to use card reader not to function in some parts of the country, namely the southeast and the south, and in parts of the north, in places like Kano and a host of others where the PDP is very, very, very strong. We are also aware that they are removing certain chiefs from insiders among them they are removing certain chips of the card reader such that one single individual can vote 10 times in an election, because the card reader will not identify whether he has voted or not voted. And this now led us to the other stage of what they call CAVS. CAVS means continuous accreditation and voting system, meaning that you can go to a polling booth next to my house, vote at 8 o'clock, you move to another polling booth and vote 9 o'clock. By the time it is 1 o'clock, you might have voted 10 times. And the card reader will not really identify you. This is the system they are trying to do. And we are also being told that they are trying to use bands, wristbands, or use some badge such that any security man that sees anybody with that one will know that he's an agent of government and he should be allowed to do what he wants to do during the election period.
So you are aware, and I think if you are aware, the next stage is to have a plan to ensure that we have a hit-free election, that we don't have problems, and whosoever wins, all Nigerians want to see is that it has been a free and fair election.
Well, it is our wish that there will be a free, fair, credible election in Nigeria. But I want to assure you that this government ought to be forced to do that. They will never try a free, fair, transparent and credible election. But vigilance is the word. We will be vigilant, and we will pass this information to all the countries of the world, to all election monitors across the world, and we are being assured by international and local election monitors that they are going to deploy monitors to every polling booth in the country, and we will be telling them what to look for, such that nobody can try any hanky-panky, and whosoever tries that one will have himself to blame at the end of the day.